Hello and welcome to BSN 3502 Business Law. This is Dr. Maggie Vivoda, and today's topic that we're going to be discussing is ethics. Exactly what is ethics? Ethics is defined as the inner guiding moral principles, values, and beliefs that people use to analyze or interpret a situation and to then decide what is right or appropriate way to behave. What is an ethical dilemma? An ethical dilemma is defined as the quandary people find themselves in when they have to decide if they should act in a way that might help another person or group, even though doing so might go against their own self-interest. The situation when you are discussing ethical dilemma is that a dilemma may also arise when a person has to choose between two different courses of action, knowing that whichever he or she selects will harm one person or group even while it will benefit another. The ethical dilemma here is to decide which course of action is the lesser of two evils. People often know they are confronting an ethical dilemma when their moral scruples come into play and cause them to hesitate, debate, and reflect upon the rightness or goodness of the course of action. Moral scruples are thoughts and feelings that tell a person what is right or wrong. They are a part of the person's ethics. Once again, ethics are the inner guiding moral principles, values, and beliefs that people use to analyze or interpret a situation and then decide what is the right or appropriate way to behave. The essential problem in dealing with ethical issues, and thus solving moral dilemmas, is no absolute or indisputable rules or principles can be developed to decide whether an action is ethical or unethical. Put simply, different people or groups may dispute which actions are ethical or unethical depending on their personal self-interest and specific attitudes, beliefs, and values. In a business environment, the question is, how, therefore, are we in companies and their managers and employees to decide what is ethical and so act appropriately towards other people and groups? Now we're going to talk a little bit about ethics in the law. When you think about it, society as a whole can use the political and legal process to lobby for and pass laws that specify what people can and cannot do. Many different kinds of laws govern business, for example, laws against fraud and deception, and laws governing how companies can treat their employees and customers. Laws also specify what sanctions or punishments will follow if those laws are broken. Different groups in society lobby for which laws should be passed based on their own personal interests and beliefs about what's right and what's wrong. The group that can summon the most support can pass laws that align with the interests and beliefs. Once a law is passed, a decision about what the appropriate behavior is with regard to a person or situation is taken from the personally determined ethical realm to the societally determined legal realm. If you do not conform to the law, you will be prosecuted, and if you are found guilty of breaking the law, you will be punished. You have little to say in the matter. Your fate is in the hands of the court and its lawyers. In studying the relationship between ethics and law, it is important to understand that neither laws nor ethics are fixed principles that do not change over time. Ethical beliefs change as time passes, and as they do so, laws change to reflect the changing ethical beliefs of the society. It was seen as ethical, and it was legal, for example, to acquire and possess slaves in ancient Rome and Greece, and in the United States until the late 19th century. Ethical views regarding whether slavery was morally right or appropriately changed, however. Slavery was made illegal in the U.S. when those in power decided that slavery degraded the meaning of being human. Slavery makes a statement about the value or worth of human beings and about their right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if we deny these rights to other people, how can we claim to have any natural rights to these things? Moreover, what is to stop any person or group that becomes powerful enough to take control of the political and legal process from enslaving us and denying us the right to be free and own our own property? In denying freedom on others, one risks losing it oneself, just as stealing from others opens the door for them to steal from us in return. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you is a common ethical or moral rule that people apply in such situations just to decide what is the right thing to do. Changes in ethics over time. There are many types of behavior, such as murder, theft, slavery, and driving while intoxicated, that most people currently believe are unacceptable and unethical, and should therefore be illegal. However, the ethics of many other actions and behaviors are open to dispute. Some people might believe a particular behavior, for example, smoking tobacco in public or possessing guns, is unethical and so should be made illegal. Others might argue that it's up to the individual or group to decide if behaviors are ethical and thus whether a particular behavior should remain illegal. As ethical beliefs change over time, some people may begin to question whether existing laws that make specific behaviors illegal are still appropriate. And right now in the news, I think you see the debate over medical marijuana, that particular controversy. That's a very, very good example. Ethical beliefs do lead to new laws. However, laws change or even disappear entirely as beliefs change. Keep in mind that just because something is found to be legal does not mean it's necessarily ethical. Now we're going to discuss a term called utilitarianism. And I always use this as a very good example because I happen to think it provides the concept of utilitarianism in a way that it makes the concept very clear. If you ever watch the show 24, 24 is about an individual who works for the government who has to make a decision most of the time, whether, for example, to save his fiancée or to save a country. If you are following the utilitarian rule, your your decision would be very clear-cut. Utilitarianism is actually an ethical decision that produces the greater good for the greatest number of people. So in our example of 24, you would choose the country. In business, for example, corporations must determine who would benefit or be harmed by certain actions. For example, the use of outsourcing as a replacement for current employees. So basically, the decision must be made whether or not the ethical decision would produce the greater good for the greatest number of people, and then make a decision from there. I provided, and I call it a very short list of companies that are known for ethical business practices. GlaxoSmithKline, Bristol-Myers Squibb, Prudential Insurance, Johnson & Johnson, known to be very ethical, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Whole Foods. Now, on the next list, I'm also going to give you, of course, companies that are known for unethical business practices, and I guarantee you've heard about some of these particular companies. Here we go. Arthur Andersen, Enron, Tyco, Adelphia, Quest, PAC, and WorldCom. I think everyone's pretty much familiar with the Enron scandal and how many people who were just ready to retire lost all their savings but were told everything's fine while the company cooked the books. Since that time, Jeff Skilling has been in prison. Kenneth Lay, who was involved in Enron, is passed away from a heart attack. I believe it was shortly after he was found guilty and was going to be going to prison. So you can see that unethical business practices, of course, are not good, but there is a theory that if you have an organization that practices ethically, you will also be highly productive. Well, I certainly hope you've enjoyed this PowerPoint presentation. I know I enjoyed making it. Please keep in mind that this presentation is just to enhance the readings from your textbook. Make sure you read your textbook chapters first and then watch the PowerPoint and bring it all together. Thank you so much, and I do hope you have a great day.